Chapter 6, Lesson 2, the European Climate and Vegetation. These are the notes that we went over earlier this week. Remember that there are 4 factors that affect climate: elevation, location, wind, and water. So elevation is how far you are above sea level. Location is the distance from the equator or your location on a large landmass. Both of those will affect your climate. Wind has to do with the direction of the wind and if there's water or there are mountains. And then water deals with rainfall or a location near an ocean or a sea or another large body of water. Climate is the average weather of a place over many years. So weather is a snapshot, climate is the long-term picture. For these, I'm not going to go back over these notes, but you have the opportunity, if you missed anything, to go ahead and get that filled in. All right, I guess I'm missing a page. All right, to go over what we missed before, this is the map from your book that shows the actual climate regions. And the first part said that there were 4 climate regions that were in Europe and Russia. And so when you look at this map, this includes all of Russia. So Russia is from this border all the way to the Pacific Ocean. So Russia, surprisingly, for as large as it is, it doesn't have a large variety of climates. It has subarctic, which you find along the Arctic Ocean. I'm sorry, that was tundra. And then subarctic. You have some humid continental and some steppe. So the tundra is the coldest of these regions. It's frozen. You've got permafrost along the coast up here. This is not a warm coast. There is no warm water current that flows along here. The North Atlantic current comes up this coast, and you can see the difference in climate. You have a humid continental climate all the way up past the Arctic Circle. But once you cross these mountains, you no longer have that warming effect of the wind across that climate. You have a subarctic and a tundra climate. Most of Russia is in the subarctic, and then you have the humid continental. Steppe is a dry region, and a little more steppe over here. Europe, Southern Europe has a more varied climate, and that's because of the effect of the wind and the water. So North Atlantic current again flows through here. You have a humid subtropical. You have a Mediterranean climate. You will also have marine west coast. So because of the wind and the water through here, you have much more varied climate. The vegetation of Europe refers to what grows in Europe, whether it be trees or grasslands, but just what the natural plant life is like. So most of Europe's natural vegetation was forest, and much of this was cleared for farms, factories, and cities. Deciduous trees are trees that lose their leaves in winter. We have deciduous trees. I'm looking out my office window and I see lots of bare trees. Those are deciduous trees. Things like maple, things like oak, those are all deciduous trees. Coniferous trees are evergreen trees with cones that carry and protect seeds. Often we refer to these as pine trees, even if they're not pine. There's a big pine tree, there's a big coniferous tree right outside the church that we have decorated with lights for Christmas. That is an evergreen, that is a coniferous tree. The taiga, when we look back at our map of Europe. The taiga is most of Russia. So one thing you can always do is find the Caspian Sea and know north of that, that's kind of where the Ural Mountain line is. All of this is European Russia. All of this is Asian Russia. Find that line, and most of what is east of that is the taiga. So most of this area is the taiga. And the taiga is a forest in Russia that covers more than 4 million square miles, located in Siberia. It is the largest forest in the world. For grasslands of Europe and Russia, so again, we're talking about both of those, the continent and then also on into Russia. Most of this has been cleared for farming. And steppe usually is an area that's really dry, almost desert-like. But however, in Russia, they refer to the grasslands as steppe. You find these mostly in the southwestern part of Russia. And you have a mix of low-growing vegetation and mosses. So the Mediterranean area, it has its own climate. It also has its own unique type of vegetation. Mediterranean vegetation is a mix of trees, what they call scrub, and smaller plants. Scrub usually refers to kind of low, thorny, woody bushes, things that can live a long time without a great deal of rainfall. In this area, you'll also find vegetation that's mostly low growing, generally not over 8 feet tall. And if you think about any skyline that you look at in Indiana, trees are more than 8 feet tall. And so that's a specific kind of vegetation, and it has everything to do with the amount of rainfall they get and when they get their rainfall. Some examples of this would be olive trees, cork trees, all grow in this region. Tundra of Europe and Russia, so you have tundra and permafrost. So if you start with the definitions, tundra is a cold, dry, treeless region that is covered with snow most of the year. Permafrost is a cold, nope, it's a layer, it is cold, of permanently frozen ground below the top layer of soil. You're going to find this in this northern part. So this is the tundra region. In this area, the actual vegetation, you're not going to get very much. With tundra, you have winter most of the year round. But in the summer months, when the top layer of the soil is able to thaw, it's a very brief surface. You'll get some grasses, mosses, and other plant life that grows very quickly. And then it is again covered by snow and by ice during the winter region. The summer is not warm enough or long enough for the permafrost to actually thaw. And so any kind of real farming is not possible in those regions, even in the summer months.